Hello and welcome to today's lesson. Today we're going to be looking at topics under the standard 4.1 in 6th grade and under the study island topic, circles. We're basically going to be looking at the difference between a radius and a diameter of a circle, and then how to calculate the area of a circle, and then how to calculate the circumference of a circle. So as we're going through that, please make sure that you are taking notes so that you can have the formulas down and definitions down, and you can have those example problems to look at when you're trying these problems on your own. And you can even pause at the beginning of a question, work that question out, see if you get the same answer as I do, and then when you show your work when you do that, you can compare our work to find any mistakes that you might have made. And so I'm so glad that you're joining us today, and let's go ahead and take some notes. So when we go through these problems, there's going to be 4 major vocabulary words you need to know. You're going to have your diameter, radius, circumference, and area. And you're also going to have to know a little bit about the number pi. So a diameter is a line segment that starts on one side of the circle and goes to the other side of the circle and goes through the center of the circle also. A radius is half of the diameter because it starts at the center and goes to the side. So if the diameter is 10, the radius is 5. If the diameter is 18, the radius is 9. It's always half the diameter. 2 radiuses make a whole diameter. And given the radius or the diameter, you're going to be asked to calculate either the circumference, which is the distance around the circle. You can think about it as the circle's perimeter. Or the area, which is how much space that circle takes up. And so you're going to need to know the formulas. And the formula for a circle area is pi times the radius squared, or pi r squared. And then the formula for circumference is 2 times pi times the radius, or 2 pi r. So you're thinking, what is that funky pi symbol in those formulas? Well, that pi symbol stands for a number that keeps going on forever and ever and ever and never ever repeats. We commonly approximate it to 3.14. However, in the problems that you do in Study Island, they want them to be exact. They don't want you rounding this number and hence rounding your answer. So you're just going to leave this symbol in the problem. So really what you end up doing to find the circumference is taking 2 times the radius and putting the pi symbol beside it. To find the radius, you end up taking the radius number and squaring it and putting the pi number beside it. So this pi symbol sometimes throws people for a loop and makes it look harder, but it's really not. So give it a chance and relax and realize these problems can be fairly easy. So in this first problem, the radius of the circle is 5. So what would be the circumference of the circle? So I need to know this formula by heart from memory. It's going to be the circumference is equal to 2 times the pi number times radius. So here they give me the radius, so I don't have to do any work to find that. So that means I'm going to have 2 times pi times 5. And I can multiply in any order, so I'm going to take 2 times 5, which is 10, and then I just carry that pi symbol through, and that's my answer, 10 pi. So that's going to be choice C. In this question, I'm asked to find the circumference again, and my circumference formula that I have memorized is 2 pi r, and then I also am told that the radius is 3 inches. So the radius is what I need to know in my formula. So since I have that, I'm just going to put in there 2 times pi times that radius number 3. And since I can multiply in any order, I'm going to take 2 times 3, which is 6. And then the pi symbol just carries through because I want my answer to be exact. So 6 pi inches is my final answer, which is B. In this problem, they asked me to find the circumference of the circle, but this time they give me that the diameter is 20. So this diameter up here is 20. My circumference formula that I have memorized is 2 times pi times the radius. So I need to know the radius. Well, the radius is always half the diameter. So half of 20 is 10. So the radius of this circle would be 10 units or 10 inches. So that means I'm going to have 2 times pi times 10. And I can multiply in any order. So I'm going to do 2 times 10, which is 20. And then I just carry that pi symbol through. So my answer is going to be 20 pi inches, which is choice D. In this problem here, I'm asked to find the circumference one last time. And I'm given again that the diameter number, and this time it's 4 millimeters. So I write down my circumference formula that I have memorized, and you should have it memorized also, is 2 times pi times the radius. The only thing I need to know to find the circumference is the radius. So I know diameter is 4, so to find the radius, I have to take half of 4, which is 2. And then that's the number that I can put in for the radius in my formula. And then I just take 2 times 2, which is 4. Carry the pi symbol through, and my final answer is 4 pi millimeters, which is choice A. Now I'm asked to find the area of the circle. So the area formula for a circle, which I have memorized, is area equals pi r squared, and you'll need to have that memorized also. So pi is just going to carry through, and then I look at my problem and they tell me that the radius is 9 inches. So I'm just going to plug this in here, and that's going to be 9 squared. Now, one of the most common mistakes is people are going to be, oh, 9 times 2 is 18. That's my answer. No. 9 squared means 9 times 9, which is 81. And then that pi symbol just carries through. So my final answer is 81 pi, which is choice D as my final answer. In this example here, I'm told that the radius of this circle is 6 centimeters and that I need to know what the area is. So once again, I write down my area formula that I need to have memorized. So that's pi times the radius squared. And so the only thing I need to know to find the area of a circle is the radius, which they give me is 6. So I'm just going to substitute in 6 squared there with the pi symbol. And I'm going to take 6 times 6, which is 36. That's what 6 squared equals. And the pi symbol carries through. And I'm just going to put it at the end because that's the standard way that we write it. We always like putting numbers first and symbols second. So 36 pi centimeters squared is going to be the area of that circle, choice D. This problem here is asking for the area of the circle if you know the diameter is 14 millimeters. So the area formula that you have memorized is pi times the radius squared. So I need to know the radius, not the diameter. I know the diameter is 14, and I know a radius is always half the diameter, so half of 14 is 7. So that's the number I'm going to use in my formula. So I'm going to have pi times 7 squared. Well, 7 times 7 is 49. And the pi symbol just carries through. And we just like putting it at the end because that's the standard way that we write that. So 49 pi millimeters squared is going to be my final answer, which is choice C. So if the diameter of the circle above is 12 centimeters, what is the area of the circle in terms of pi? So we know that this diameter is 12 centimeters and that we're looking for the area. So I'm going to copy down my area formula. Area equals pi radius squared. But this time, I need to know the radius, and I'm given the diameter. So I need to think about what that radius is going to be. The radius is always half of the diameter, so my radius here is going to be 6. So 6 is the number I'm going to be squaring. 6 times 6 is 36, and then I just put the pi symbol after it. So it's going to make my final answer D, 36 pi centimeters squared. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you learned something new.